right, so chapter 4 for us was a short chapter. We only covered 3 lessons for 1 through 4.3, all about slope-intercept, graphing slope-intercept, and writing equations in point-slope form. So we have a 10-question review here, and then you'll take a quiz on all of that. I did go ahead and write my formulas up at the top, so I don't have to keep going back and looking for them as I'm filling this out. Standard form, remember, is ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c, I tried to write them in green, are just numbers. They don't represent anything. They're just any number, right? And the only rule here is that a, the first number of the whole thing, a, has to be a positive number, and it has to be an integer. It cannot be, or I guess it has to be a whole number. It cannot be a fraction, right? Just a. B can be a fraction, and it can be negative. Same with c. But a can't be negative and it can't be a fraction. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, where m is our slope and b is our y-intercept, where we cross the y-axis if we were graphing. And then point-slope form looks kind of like the messiest, right? It looks the longest, but it's actually pretty simple because there's no real math involved unless you're simplifying signs. So y minus y1. This second y here, I wrote it in purple, represents the y you're replacing. A lot of students get confused. Which y do I replace? Is this the one I replace and I leave this one? No, the second one is the one you replace, right? So you have the slope of your equation, which goes here where m is, and then one point that's a solution to your equation. So x comma y, right? And so your x value is going to go here, and your y value is going to go here. So your x comma y value is your point on your line, or a solution to your equation, and your slope is here. Y minus the y value of your point equals m, the slope, times x minus the x value of your point slope. Okay, so number 1, what is the slope-intercept form of an equation for the line containing 0, -3, and with a slope of -1, right? So I went ahead and highlighted so I don't lose track of it. This is slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b, right? So, and you can see all the answer choices are in that form as well, except for D. We know that one's out already. Y has got to be by itself. All right, so I am going to use a sticky note here to give myself a little bit of extra room to do my work. And I can always move that. You do need to show all of your work. And it's hard for me when you guys say, well, I did all the work and I threw it away. No way. If I sat here and spent all that time doing all this work, I'm not going to just chuck it. I'm going to make sure my teacher sees it. So make sure I see your work. All right, so we have y equals mx plus b. And then our slope is m. That's -1. Y equals -1x plus b. And then we got to figure out what b is. Well, it doesn't tell me what the y-intercept is, but it does give me one of the solutions to this equation, a set of x's and y's. So this is my x value, this is my y value. So when x is 0, y is -3. So I'm going to plug a -3 in for y and a 0 in for x. And now I can solve for b, right? So -1 times 0 is just 0. So b is going to equal -3. So once I know what b is, I can go back up here, oops, I went too far, and plug it in. So I'm going to have y equals -1x plus, and then my b value is -3. And then all I have to do is simplify with my signs, right? Y equals, I don't have to write the 1, -x plus -3 is just -3. Y equals -x minus 3. Is that one of my choices? -x minus 3, this guy right here, A. All right, and I'm going to put my little work over here to the side. You can get a separate sheet of paper and share your work. You don't have to get all fancy with sticky notes, but you do need to have that work somewhere. All right, I'm going to flip that up. Number 2, write an equation in slope-intercept form, same thing, of a line with a slope of -3/4 and a y-intercept of -5. So here it gives us m and b, right? Our slope is m, and our y-intercept is b. So now I'm just going to plug those in, right, for my equation. So I've got y equals mx, -3/4x, plus b, and b is -5, so plus -5 or -5. So this is what my equation should look like. And I do have one problem that matches that, which is here, h. Y is similar, but there's a +5 instead of -5. G is in standard form. It's not even in slope-intercept form. And F, it looks like they flip-flopped the y-intercept and the slope. So make sure you know what goes where. Number 3, write an equation of the line that passes through these 2 points. It doesn't tell us what form to write this equation in. However, it does show me all my answer choices, and they are all in slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b, y equals mx plus b, y equals mx plus b, b is negative, and y equals mx plus b. So I know I'm going to write it in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to get another sticky note to do some work on it. Okay, so remember the steps to writing a slope-intercept equation. You start off with y equals mx plus b. Step 1 is to find your slope, and then step 2 is to find your y-intercept. You got to replace m and b. So first we want to find the slope, find m. And how do we do that when we just have 2 answer choices here? Remember the slope formula is y minus y over x minus x. So for these 2 ordered pairs, I have y minus y, 8 minus -4, over, and since I started with 8 on top, I have to start with its partner first on the bottom, -2 minus -4. And then to simplify that, I just have to simplify my 2 signs that are touching. Minus and negative is really just plus. Same on the bottom. 8 plus 4 is 12. -2 plus 4 is 2. And 12 divided by 2 is 6. So my slope here is 6. Y equals 6x plus b. Step 2, now that I know the slope, I got to find b. Well, it doesn't tell me what b is. All it gives me is 2 ordered pairs, right? It gives me 2 sets of x's and y's. Well, I can use one of those. I don't need both of them. I just need one. It does not matter which one I use. I'm going to get the same answer no matter what. So I just pick one of them, right? So I'm going to pick -2, 8. So x is -2, y is 8. I'm going to plug those numbers in for x and y here and solve for b. So step 2 is to find b. I've got my equation. I'm going to write 8 equals 6 times -2 plus b. 8 equals 6 times -2 plus b. Y equals mx plus b. Okay, so that's 8 equals -12. I'm going to add 12 on both sides of my equal sign. Oh, you guys can't see that. I'm going to add 12 on both sides of my equal sign. 8 plus 12 is 20. So I get b equals 20, and I'm going to plug that in up here. So I will have y equals 6x plus 20. That's what my equation should look like. Y equals 6x plus 20 for number 3, excuse me. Y equals, oh, right here. B, y equals 6x plus 20. And I'm going to make sure I leave my work here so my teacher can see it. Okay, number 4, y minus 3 equals 2/3 times x minus 2. That's in point slope form. I need to write it in standard form. I'm going to get a handy-dandy sticky note out again here because it doesn't give me any room to work on this worksheet. Standard form is ax plus by equals c. And remember, the number in front of x, our a value, has to be positive and it cannot be a fraction. So whole number. All right, so here I'm going to write y minus 3 equals 2/3 x minus 2. There are no parentheses here, so first thing I want to do is get rid of these parentheses by distributing the number in front of parentheses. So y minus 3 equals 2/3 times x is 2/3 x. Bring down my minus sign. 2/3 times 2 gives me 4/3. Excuse me. Okay, so now I'm here, right? My goal in standard form is to get x and y on the same side of the equal sign, and then any numbers by themselves on the other side, right? Well, that's not what I have here. X and y are on 2 different sides. So I either need to move x over here, or I need to move y over here, okay? Well, remember, x cannot be negative. So if I moved it from here over here, I would have to subtract it. I'd have to subtract 2/3 x here, and I'd have to subtract 2/3 x over here. And then my number in front of x would be negative. I don't want that. So I'm going to leave this alone, and I'm going to move this y. So to get rid of it over here, I subtract it. Whatever I do on one side of my equal sign, I got to do to the other. Goes away here. So I'm left with negative 3 equals 2/3 x, and then I subtracted y. And then I still have this minus 4/3 on the end here. All right, so it's starting to shape up, but it's hard to see still, right? So I have x and y on the same side of the equal sign, but I still have this plain number over here. And furthermore, I have a fraction in front of x, and I can't have a fraction in front of x, right? Remember, a can't be a fraction. So since both of these fractions have the same denominator, they're both basically being divided by 3. Well, how do I get rid of divided by 3? I'm going to multiply everything by 3, right? Doing the opposite operation just cancels it out. So if I multiply this entire side by 3, I got to multiply this side by 3. I didn't change the fact that the two sides are equal because I did the same thing to both sides. I multiplied them both by 3. They're just going to look a little different. So 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. 3 times 2 divided by 3, these 3's cancel each other out, and I'm just left with 2x. Negative y times 3 is negative 3y. And negative 4/3 times 3, so 3 times negative 4 divided by 3, these 3's cancel each other out. Negative 4 is being divided by 3 and multiplied by 3, so they cancel, and I'm just left with negative 4. So negative 9 equals 2x minus 3y minus 4. I've got x and y together. The number in front of x is positive. It's not a fraction. I just need to get rid of this minus 4. So I'm going to add 4 here, add 4 here. Negative 9 plus 4, if I'm down in a hole 9 feet and I come up 4 feet, now I'm only down in that hole 5 feet. 2x minus 3y. So this is standard form. I'm just going to flip-flop the two sides of my equal sign, and I'm going to have 2x minus 3y equals negative 5x. 2x minus 3y equals negative 5x. 2x minus 3, oh, not negative 5x, just negative 5, sorry. 2x minus 3y equals positive 5. That's not it. This is not in standard form. This has a negative sign in front, so that can't be correct. 2x minus 3y equals negative 5. That's my guy. J. That's what I got here. Same thing, right? I just flip-flop the two sides of my equal sign. Oops, wrong problem. Here, this one. All right, so I'm going to leave my work over here. That was J. Next, I have number 5. We're halfway done. Y minus 1 equals 2 times x minus 3/2. Write it in slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is when y is all by itself. I actually like putting equations in slope-intercept form because I can have fractions. That doesn't matter. They can be negative. That doesn't matter. My only goal is to get y by itself. So I'm getting it in the form y equals mx plus b. So I've got y minus 1 equals 2 times x minus 3 over 2. First thing I want to do is get rid of parentheses. So I'm going to distribute. Y minus 1 equals 2 times x is 2x. Bring down that minus sign. 2 times 3 divided by 2. Well, 2 times 3 is 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3, right? So 3 divided by 2 times 2 is just 3. The 2's cancel each other out. Okay, and then lastly, I'm trying to get y by itself, so I want to get rid of that minus 1 by adding 1, and whatever I do on this side of the equal sign, I got to do the same thing over here. These go away. Y equals 2x minus negative 3 plus 1 becomes negative 2. So you're 3 feet down in a hole and you come up 1 foot. Now you're just 2 foot down in a hole. Y equals 2x minus 2. Y equals 2x minus 2. D. Perfect. On my answer over here, I write D. And I'm going to include my work here. And that was my last sticky note. I'm going to use this space that it gives me here for number 6. Plug in right along. Okay. A cell phone company charges $42 per month. So not just a one-time fee of $42. Each month that you use your cell phone, they take another $42 out of your bank account. the cost of a new cell phone, not the service, but the actual phone itself, plus 8 months of service is $415.99. How much does it cost to buy a new cell phone and 3 months of service? Okay, so what would our equation kind of look like? Total cost equals the number per month, the number they charge per month, so $42 times however many months they charge you, right? Plus, you got to buy the phone. To use the phone service, you got to have a phone, right? So plus, we need to have the cost of a phone. Well, we don't know what that is yet. What we do know that it tells us is that our total cost is $415.99. So Y is $415.99. We know it's $42 per month times 8 months of service, right? It tells us 8 months of service. And then we don't know the cost of the phone. So we got to figure out the cost of the phone first, right? So I'm just going to use my calculator here. I do want you to write out the work. We're limited in space, but I do want you to show me what steps you used. Okay, so 42 times 8 equals $336, and then I want to subtract that from both sides to see what just the phone costs. So $415.99 minus $336. $415.99 minus $336 equals $79.99. So a new phone is $79.99. Okay, so this is where I messed up a while ago because I was making the answer key and I'm like, okay, done. $79.99, boom, F, done, right? No, it asks you for the cost to buy a new cell phone, $79.99, and 3 months of service. So make sure you read the question carefully. I get going so fast, even as a grown-up, even as a teacher, I get going so fast. Y'all have seen me do it a bunch of times, and I skip part of the question. And that is like reading questions 101. Don't miss part of the question because you get in too big of a hurry. Okay, so I know this is my equation. Y equals 42x plus 79.99. And the number of months I'm trying to figure out service for is 3. So Y equals 42 times 3 plus the cost of a new phone. So this is what I need to figure out. So I can do that in my calculator. You can see that, yeah. Okay, 42 times 3 equals 126 plus 79.99 gives me a grand total of 205.99. It doesn't mention tax. Some of you like smarty pants always think, well, you gotta pay tax. Yes, you do. But in a math problem, if it doesn't mention it, they're not asking for it. So keep it simple. So 205.99. Is that one of my choices? Yes, it is. H. I hope that makes sense for you guys. If you have questions, let me know. We had to figure out the cost of a new cell phone and 3 months of service, and the service is $42 per month. Okay, last little section of questions here. For questions 7 through 10, use the following information. Nico needs to get his air conditioner fixed. The struggle. The technician will charge Nico a flat fee of $50 plus an additional $20 fee for each hour of work, right? They have to charge you something for them to go to the trouble of coming out to your house, because what if it's nothing, right? And then now you've set aside time in your day to go all the way to somebody's house and you just don't get paid anything? No, usually they charge you a flat fee just for coming out. And then if they actually are going to stay there and work to fix something, they charge you $20 per hour that they're working. Okay, so our equation would be something like Y equals $20 for each hour of work, so 20x, plus just a flat $50 fee. It doesn't matter if they're there for 18 hours or if they're there for 18 minutes. They're just going to charge you that one-time $50 fee. So this is what our equation is going to kind of look like. So number 7 says write an equation to represent the total cost to repair his air conditioner. Use T for the total cost and H for the hours. So here's our equation. Y represents the total cost. So we're going to change that to a T. And then X represents the number of hours. So it's $20 per hour plus a $50 flat rate. So here's our equation. Total cost equals $20 per hour times the number of hours they work plus $50. T equals 20H plus 50. Make sure you write that in your answer key. Okay, number 2 says to graph. And they give us this beautiful, cute little graph over here. So we're graphing T equals 20H plus 50. So the plus 50 is our y-intercept, right? So that's what we're going to start off plotting here on the y-axis. It looks like each box is 20. So 20, 40, 60, 50 is halfway in between. So even if they don't even do anything, they charge you a flat $50 fee just for coming out to your house, right, to see your AC. And then on top of that, they charge an additional $20 per hour. So for each hour they work, you go up $20 more, right? So 10, 20, 10, 20. You're just going up $20, which is about a box. And since we start halfway between 2 boxes and we go up 1 box worth, we're going to end up halfway between 2 boxes. It looks something like this. Okay, so now you can either use your graph or you can just use math from the equation to answer the next 2 questions. How much will it cost Nico if the technician has to spend 4 hours working on the AC? All right, well, we can come over here to our graph, go over to the bottom here, 4 hours, and that goes up to halfway between 120 and 140, so that should be $130. If you use the math to figure that out, right? Here's this guy, our equation for 4 hours. 20 times 40 is 80, and 80 plus 50 is 130. So the total cost would be $130, which is what we saw from the graph. And then the last question here, number 10, how many hours must a technician work for it to cost Nico $180? So if the total cost is $180, and we know that it's $20 per hour plus a $50 fee, how many hours would they have had to work for a $180 bill, right? So I'm going to solve for H, get H alone. Let's subtract 50, 130 equals 20H, divide by 20. The zeros go away, so H equals 13 over 2, or 6.5. They'd have to work about 6.5 hours for a $180 bill. So 6.5 hours. Good. The other thing you could have done was come over here to your graph. Go up here to the total bill, which is 180. Here it is. So where does this line hit? It's halfway in between 6 and 7 hours, right? We hit right here. This is halfway up, this is halfway up, so right on the line is halfway between 6 and 7 hours, 6.5 hours. All right, if you guys have any questions at all, let me know.